I believe you have to choose that you want to stay. Alrighty. So hopefully you all see that. Either Karen or Stefania, if you can actually tell me that you see that, because you probably still have your microphone
looks good.
on. So
Yes.
because of course I can't see anything anymore. So yes, so University of Fraser Valley, last year we called this Discover Your UFV, DYU. You'll find that we use a lot of abbreviations. This is for fall 2021 and the 2 programs are there. And of course we also like to call this the program orientation. So that's hopefully what all 4 of you are here for, is to find out about fall semester and these 2 programs. Today, I do want to acknowledge that I am coming live from Abbotsford dining room in my house. And so I am honored to live and work on the unceded territories of the Stolo people. Karen, you're in Chilliwack, that's still Stolo too, right? And then Stefania, I can't remember where you're coming from, sorry.
Yeah, still Abbotsford, yeah, specifically Kwantlen and Nooksack territory.
Yeah, all righty, so we have everyone covered. Wanted to make sure. Alrighty, so what are we going to cover today? So what the UFE Advising Center is, so who we are and what we do, because that's where both Karen and I operate out of. We use, again, I said abbreviation, so the BES and the BES-NS program requirements, some course planning and registration information, some tools. We use the academic calendar. We also have 1-year sample plans to show you. And of course, the big one, my grad plan, we're in this a lot with students. And then closer to the end, resources for academic success. So that's what the plan is for this presentation. So the UFE Advising Center, right now, of course, we're all virtually, we're all, working from home. September will bring about changes. We're of course not quite sure what that's going to be looking like, but how you contact us right now currently is you can email us, you can phone, we have 3 people who answer that line. Our appointments are usually handled virtually. I use Zoom. I believe Karen uses Collaborate. We can also call you, and we, of course, also can email you. When we are back on campus in Abbotsford, we're located in the Student Union building. We call that Building S. We're on the 3rd floor. And then in Chilliwack, we're in, I haven't been there in a while. I'll have to see, where are we? Oh yes, in Student Services in Building A, which is the main building, and you can see where the room is. And of course, how you find us is all through ufe.ca/advising. So hopefully this picture will be there, and you can see right there, the very first sort of green sort of swirl on the right-hand side says book an appointment. There is a lot of information on this page. This just happens to be just a screenshot of our site. So we will, of course, suggest that you look at everything that we have there, because we have program planning information, we have GPA calculators, we have all sorts of things that are going up there to help students navigate their way through their education. So then, of course, why do you come and see us? So we're completion advisors because we advise for specific programs. So things like what courses are required, what courses will be scheduled next semester, my grad plan, we're in that all the time, and how to interpret the information that you see there. Are you thinking of completing courses elsewhere for 1 semester and then transferring them back to UFE to complete program requirements? And then the cheeky side of me here is that we are actually the ones, Karen and I, who approve your graduation request when it comes time for you to do so, right? Other things that we do. So we usually have answers or can find answers on the general university policies, procedures, general academic questions. We get asked all sorts of things, and we're required to know that information. We also provide referrals to resources. There's a whole sort of set of student support services that you have access to. We also have our connection with our, here's another abbreviation, CC. Okay, I'm not going to be able to list that one out. I want to say Center for Experiential Learning and Career Exploration. Again, I don't know if I nailed it, but I think that's what CC stands for. What else? Yeah, so academic standing, sometimes when you're struggling, can help you develop strategies to, get back on track. And then, of course, usually the more important one, confirm that you're eligible to graduate, right? So any questions about what Karen and I do? Anything popping up in the chat, Karen? Am I going too fast? Can you hear me? That's usually another thing that I am well aware of. I tend to talk pretty quickly, so I'm trying to be as slow as possible here. Is everything okay from your side? Karen or Stefania, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bachelor of Environmental Studies and Bachelor of Environmental Studies Natural Sciences degrees have general requirements, or we're labeling them as general requirements. So in total, we are going to ask you to complete 120 credits. We usually like to just let you know that that's the number of credits up front. I know it's a bit overwhelming, but there, of course, will be specific requirements. So we have broken them up into titles and categories. So we have some environmental core requirements, some research methods and engagement requirements, some breadth requirements. And then sometimes for first semester or first year, sometimes the more important ones are the electives. So these are going to be UFE courses numbered 100 or higher that are outside of, the three sections above, where you get to try something new. So we call those electives. But in the end, we will ask you to complete a total of 120 credits. And where you're going to be able to find, what courses, are within that environmental core section, or that research methods and engagement section, or that breadth section, will actually be found in my grad plan. So my grad plan, I think, is the next page. Yes, cool. Good segment here, segue into it. So my grad plan is the computerized tool that OREG has created for all of us to have access to. They have coded all of the courses that are required for all the programs that UFE offers. And then based on, what program you've been accepted to, that's what will show up in your main worksheet. And then it's also attached to your student record. So whenever you register in courses, you receive final letter grades, that information is then pulled into my grad plan and updated to show you where you stand. So it does things like, okay, what requirements have I already completed? That's our green check mark. That's our visual clue that you don't have to worry about this requirement. You have this satisfied. What requirements will be completed with the courses I have chosen? So after registration, you might see what I like to call the blue squiggle. So then we know you don't have to worry about this requirement, because what you've selected for your registration for this semester will satisfy that requirement. How many courses do I need to graduate? That's our red outlined box. That's usually where my visual, where my eyes tend to go to. What do you still need? What is showing in that? And then we also have a feature that's called the what if, because we have students who, in terms of those elective courses, find an area that they're really interested in, and go, what if I decide that I don't want to, complete this program? I want to, switch programs. Or I know down the road, we're hoping to incorporate minors into the BES. I believe the minors are there now for the BES-NS, but what if I wanted to add something to my program, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be switched. Now this is where I'm going to take a slight diversion from the PowerPoint and actually pull up where you can find my grad plan off of our main website. So everything is going to come off of ufe.ca. So this is our main page. And why I like to point out these things is because it's actually all the way up here. So sometimes students will miss it. Even third and fourth year students, I'll ask them, have you found this yet? And they'll look at me, with a blank stare. And it's because, it's up in this, what I call the header, right? The navigation bar. So my UFE is where you're going to log into. If you haven't already done so, I recommend that you start, logging into my UFE and getting used to going in here, because everything generally is accomplished through the My UFE portal service. So just logged in as me. So this is our home page. So there'll be information on both sides of the screen, but when just under my courses, you can see the next box has my grad plan. So this is where you access that information. So you can click here to navigate to the next page. And sometimes I find with screen sharing, it goes a little bit slower. And then OREG has put together information about what my grad plan is all about and how you can use it. And so you can scroll to the bottom and access your personal My Grad Plan here. Because I signed in as me, it will ask me to put in a student number. It's a little slow this afternoon. When you log in, you won't have to do this step, but I'm going to pull up me and see if I'm still valid. Oh, look at that. I'm still valid. So I'm not in a program. I'm studying for general interest, so I won't have program requirements, but this is what we call your main worksheet. I'm going to use the what if on here just to pull up the Bachelor of Environmental Studies and just see what it looks like for me. So in your select your primary study, I've kept the calendar term as the default. ORID tends to do that. That's the current semester we're operating in. They will eventually switch over to fall 2021. You can see I've asked it to choose the Bachelor of Environmental Studies, and then I just hit the process what if, and then it's going to show you what requirements I've completed towards the Bachelor of Environmental Studies based on my coursework from a really long time ago. So now here it is. Hopefully everyone can see it. So when you start scrolling down, you can see we have the section on, how many credits do you need to complete? Oh, I've actually completed 57 towards this program. Isn't that interesting? And then things like, oh, we have our general education requirements. I've completed, English 105. I've completed Math 104 at the time, is now Stats 104, but I haven't completed Philosophy 100. So this is just showing some of the things that I was explaining on that slide where, the green check marks are the ones that, most students like, because that means that those are satisfied. We look for the red outlined box to show the still needed, right? In terms of, remember, I had those sort of categories or titles of sections, right? So when you scroll down a little bit further, you can see, okay, here's the environmental core requirements. And so what are those specific courses? And you can see that I need all of them because I didn't have that focus in my degree. Here's the research methods and engagement requirements. Oh, look at that. I actually satisfied the professional research skills lower level. And then I believe we have some upper level, there's the breadth requirements, and then you can see all of my lovely, electives that were pulled in to satisfy the remaining credits to reach the total of 120. So this is what the what if shows you. It also will have GPAs included. It will also include things. I said look ahead if you wanted to plunk in the courses that you have yet to register for to see where they're going to fall into the program requirements and which requirement they'll satisfy. So I find many students love this tool. They use it a lot, and this is what's going to help you choose courses for fall semester and your future semesters, because it's updated pretty much almost live. It's usually wait 24 hours before you'll see the changes have occurred. Will show up in my grad plan. So yeah, an important tool that we'll be referring to you all the time. When you're in appointment, we'll be using with you all the time as well. So yeah. Any questions about that one? Is anything coming up, Karen or Stefania? Did I make a lot of assumptions that I need to explain? That's usually another concern as well. We're all good to continue.
I've never seen this I've never been a student, so I'm just trying to absorb it as well. But I don't know if everyone is like first year. Do you know? Like Ashley, Dean, Hannah, Isabel, are you like fresh in?
I didn't ask that.
You can pop it into the chat if you're feeling shy, but it'd be great to know if you're in the BES or the BES-NS, and then what year you are, if you don't mind typing that into the chat box, assuming you're still around.
Yeah. I believe that Karen
because
said,
then that would.
Yeah, sorry, Stefania, I cut you off. I believe Karen checked that. I didn't. I believe Karen said that 3 were BES-NS. Sorry, BES.
First year.
And 1 was BES-NS, and I think Dean
might be Dean. Yeah. Dean, are you BES-NS? All first years, though. Okay.
Yeah, and yes, sorry, Stefania, I should have also.
Oh no problem. Just curious. So this is fresh for everybody, including myself. Then so it's probably a huge amount of information. But
oh yes, and we try to compartmentalize it and bring it down smaller, just to get to the point where students can feel comfortable in doing that registration process next month. But for me today, it's more about just starting to introduce them to where they can find the information and show them what it looks like. So definitely not look too foreign the next time we, pull it up for them, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, but any questions? Was there anything in the chat that I need to be concerned about before I move on? And taking silence means no, so we're good.
Ready to go.
Alrighty, so course planning for fall. So here's sort of like the tips. So we always get asked, sort of the usual questions. And so this is what, this slide is talking about, right? So how many courses, do I need to take or should I take? I believe I can speak for both degree programs where we're happy if you take one course per semester. Again, this is sort of the cheeky part of me coming out, right? So you can be a part-time student, you can be a full-time student. Full-time student is usually defined by what the student aid BC requirements are. So if you are going to be applying for a student loan, and that is 9 credits, which is usually equal to 3 courses if they're 3 credits each. So that's usually where that sort of line is drawn for full-time. So you are allowed to be a part-time student, you're allowed to take 1 or 2 courses, but usually most students, sort of fall within the 3 to 4. But truthfully, you're just choosing for September. Our fall semester in November, we'll ask you to choose courses again for winter semester, which is January. And it can be different between semesters, right? So it also depends on what's going on in the rest of your life. So it's all about finding the balance of, how many hours a week am I spending in class? How many hours a week am I going to be expected to spend outside of class to do the homework stuff? And then what other things are also taking up time commitments? And, where is it, comfortable for you to still be able to, sleep, eat, exercise, spend time with family, to the extent that we're allowed to, all of those sorts of things. So it's always an individual decision. We do usually recommend 3 or 4. And as you can see, the three courses, 3 credits each, is usually 9 hours in class, because that's what 3 credits actually usually means. And then it's usually around the same amount of time, or potentially more. Usually it's a 1 to 2 ratio of how much time you're going to spend outside of class per week in terms of doing that homework. So whether that's readings or assignments or group work or exam prep or whatever it happens to be. Some semesters, there of course is not as much time commitment in terms of that homework. Usually I like to say at the beginning of the semester, you're introduced to the instructor, your course outline, the rest of your classmates. There might be a chapter or 2 that you're reading, so that would be a lighter load compared to when it's midterms and finals. The actual amount of time that you're expected to spend outside class time, of course, will be higher. So it tends to have a little bit of an ebb and a flow, right? Are you working? How many hours a week are you working? That sort of thing. So my mathematical calculation that I always like to use as an example is take the amount of time required to be in class. So 3 credits, 3 hours a week. So that would be, if you had 3 courses, that would be 9 hours a week. Then add your homework time. So again, at least another 9. So you're at 18 hours already. And then whatever your other time commitments are, should probably equal in the sort of 30, 35, at most, I'd say 40 hours a week, because that's sort of equivalent to what, parents usually do in terms of full-time job, or what, Karen and I do, right? So that sort of seems to be, the good balance. So remember, you decide how many courses, and we're happy if you take just 1. If you need to be full-time, like I said, it's usually based on financial aid purposes, then it's 9 credits. And then, homework is usually at least the same amount of time. If not, sometimes it can be twice the amount of time that you're spending in class. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Any questions about this one? Because I know students usually, have questions about, how many courses should I be taking? And it's all about finding the number of courses that fits with you. Sometimes the other recommendation or suggestion is to start slowly, start off with taking 3, and then because winter registration, so for January, happens in November, you're about 2/3 of the way through the semester. You'll have a better sense of, what your workload is and what you can, handle comfortably without being too, stressed out or challenged. And then for winter registration, you can decide, am I going to, increase to 4, or I'm going to stay with 3, or am I going to go down to 2, just depending on, what you're experiencing for fall semester. Because that's also part of the learning process for your first semesters. Not only that you're at university and you're taking university level courses, but, deciding, is 3 courses going to work for me, or do I have some extra time? Can I, attempt 4 courses, and then sort of getting a sense of, what works for you.
Rhonda, can I just interrupt quickly? So I definitely agree. I always tell students, set yourself up for success.
Yes.
And I've seen quite a few students, especially since being online, trying to take up to upwards of 6 courses, which I think you need special approval for. And everything suffers, so their grades suffer. if the grades don't suffer, their family life suffers or their health suffers. So something is got to give, right? So so just set yourself up for success. You know, I agree. I usually ask students to budget 3 to 4 hours per credit. But if you're great in a subject, maybe you can budget less. If you're not great in a subject, math or chemistry, budget for more. But you know, when you see 9 to 12 hours per week in class, some students go, oh, okay, so then I can work 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
But it's lots and lots of homework and readings and quizzes and tests. So give yourself that space. But I did have a question for you, Rhonda, because I know in first year, you're given a little bit of priority for registration, right? So
Yes,
I
that's
was
correct.
going to ask you if you had recommendations for really popular courses that always seem to have wait lists, because now is the time for first years to register for some of these courses if it's possible.
Good question. And nothing's coming to the top
Some of
of
the ag courses and some of the indigenous courses like IPK, maybe it's not, you know, maybe they're not able to register for them as first years, but
yeah.
I just-
So I was gonna say we might target the courses that might come to my brain when we get to the
Okay,
first year program plans, because I sort of planned on going through those a little bit more closely, right? So I'm going to say,
Yeah.
you know, something like English 105 or Communications 125 to satisfy the writing requirement. There are multiple sections every single semester, including fall, winter, and summer. So, you know, that's, you know, a course that's easy to slide into, you know, whatever semester makes the most sense, right? But yeah, the
Right.
agriculture courses probably, maybe potentially Geography 103.
Mhm.
But that seems to be okay, right? In terms that doesn't, my brain's not saying that there's usually, you know, it feels quickly. Oh, the one that I can think of is Biology 105, but I don't think it's on the list. I'll remind myself when I get there, right? So,
Okay, no, I just thought I'd pepper it in because I know first years you get priority registration at this point. So if there's any hot courses that they might want to go for. Karen, did you have a?
Yeah, philosophy, I think 100 is required, and it's can be difficult to get into, so that might be one. And if you're thinking about any of the biology courses,
yes, that's right.
so if you're ready to take Biology 111 or the chemistries, those are, if you're thinking about that focus, then you would start those as soon as you can, if you have the prerequisites. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
They are difficult to get into if you leave it for a while.
So some students, and Karen and Rhonda know this, leave the less preferred subjects for later. And so sometimes I'll have my Geography 111 class and I'll have fourth years in this class. You know, they'll just wait until the last possible minute. But yeah, again, as first years, you have priority. So I would take advantage. So that goes for winter term as well. So that's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so what Stefania is actually referring to is our registration order when she also asked that question. So you'll be choosing courses before our fourth year students until you reach the 31 credit mark, and then you jump to the end of the pack. So that's also what she's referring to as well. So a registration order is based on number of credits, but it doesn't go into a logical order. So the 0 to 30 group register first, and then it's our 91 plus, so our students who have 91 credits or more, and they're of course at the end of their degree. And then it goes down from there, right? So that's also what's at play there when Stefania asked that question. So yeah.
Hope that made sense.
Yeah, so while you still have less than 30 credits completed, you register basically before everyone else does. So you have.
So yeah, philosophy 100, the biologies and the chemistries.
Chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Any other questions before I move on? And silence is golden. Alrighty, so also part of the getting ready for, you know, fall. So now we have some information about the actual registration process. So today, earlier in the day, both Karen and I received an email from ORIG. So again, another abbreviation, sorry, Office of the Registrar. We shorten that up and call it ORIG. They've already let us know that registration dates and times have been assigned and are available in my UFV. I'll show you that space in just a moment. But we also know that the actual timetable, so that's the courses that you'll be choosing from, won't be available until Monday, May 31st, and that fall registration itself actually begins June 14th. So I will show you where that page is in just a moment. We also do have a step-by-step guide to registration. There's videos included. I use that page a lot, and you actually access it, interestingly, fairly easy through the academic calendar. And I'm going to go there in just a moment, because you can see the last one is that we also recommend that you use the academic calendar, because that is our legal document. So that lists everything from entrance requirements through to program requirements, through to what are the courses about, what are the prerequisites, how many credits are they worth, all of those sorts of things are all housed within our academic calendar, and that's what everything is always referenced to. So sometimes we use that one as well. The information that ORIG has coded into my grad plan is also taken from the calendar. So yeah, our legal document, it's our contract between us and the student as to when you can start this program, this is what you need to complete in order to be eligible to graduate from this program. So a lot of registration stuff. I also believe, hopefully, when you received an email about this program information session, that there was also information about workshops that ORIG is going to have. I believe it's next month, just before registration starts, where you can actually, navigate more in my UFE to see where is your registration date and time. How do you read the timetable? How do you register? So I can't remember what we called those, but my understanding is that there's those sessions that are scheduled in June or in the next couple of weeks, because ours we're going to happen this week, and then theirs are going to start, I believe, next week. So if you haven't already signed up for one of those, I'd also recommend that as well. But let me show you where some of this information is. So I'm back to ufe.ca, right? So first I logged into my UFE, but you can see just to the left of it. So that same sort of dark gray header bar is the calendar. So this is what I was referring to in terms of the academic calendar. So when you come to this page, my goodness, you can see there's course description, there's course finder, there's course outlines, there's program index, there's stuff up here. When I said interesting enough, when you can get to that step-by-step guide on how to register, the registration link right here will send you to that page. You can see, what ORIG has put together for helping you with that process. In terms of the program requirements and the courses, I like to use the drop downs on this side, on the right-hand side, that are in, circled in gray. So when you choose the select area study, what you will find in alphabetical order are all of the different programs at UFB. So if we find environmental studies, hopefully I can get there. Sometimes my mouse control is not that great in screen share either. So you can see environmental studies. Click on that, and then what pops up, you can see the Bachelor of Environmental Studies, the Bachelor of Environmental Studies, Natural Sciences. Oh, look, Stefania, the Environmental Studies minors there now too. Woohoo! So that's our newest program. And when you click on any one of these, I'm of course going to go first on the list. Next time I'll do something on the natural sciences side of things. When you click on that one, then you get all the program information. So we start off with entrance requirements. That all happens through the Office of the Registrar, when to apply, how to apply, all of that information, right? But when you actually get to the program outline, this is when all of the requirements are listed, so that you're eligible to graduate. So that's where my grad plan has taken its information, is from here. So that's that one. But if we go back and choose select courses, now because Stefania is here, I'm going to choose Geography 111, because then she can speak to it. So in the courses drop down, again, it'll be in alphabetical order. You choose a discipline. These are all of the courses that the department has created to be offered. So I want to make a distinction here. So the academic calendar will list all of the courses that the department could potentially offer, but the timetable will just list what is currently being offered. So you may see something in the academic calendar that doesn't actually show up in the timetable. Don't worry, just jot it down, as you call it, the wish list, right? And then, the next semester when the timetable comes out, check to see if it's being offered then, because we cannot physically offer all courses every single semester. And we do start out in numeric order. So Geography 103 is first. I wanted to get to Geography 111 though. So we always give you the discipline abbreviation and the course number, how many credits it's worth, what the title is, what the prerequisites are. We always like none, because that means that you don't have to have anything specifically completed before you register in the course. And then you usually get a few lines about what the course is all about. But this is when I get to segue into Stefania and go, okay, do you want to,
Oh,
have an opportunity to sell it, right? So.
Well, I like this course. I'm teaching all the sections of this next year, so you'll eventually get me. But one of them will be online, offered online. Another one is going to be called High Flex, so you can show up online or you can show up in person, whatever you might need. But it's a fun course. So I've designed some projects that you can do as individuals to get outside and measure trees and estimate carbon and things like that. But it's not designed to really, really depress you. It's designed to make you aware, but also hopefully give you some like inspiration, I suppose, about future opportunities. Yeah. So I teach this one. I also teach Geography 130, which is Geography of Canada. And I teach Geography 331, which is required later on, and that's Environmental Assessment and Management. And we're just getting one confirmed, which is ENV 330, Sustainable Fashion. But, happy to, I'll pop my email in. So if you ever have any questions, like I'm not very far away. Rhonda and Karen are absolutely incredible. They will be your best friend throughout this process. Do not hesitate to get in touch with them because you don't want to get to fourth year not knowing what you're doing. And there's so many cool things you can do. You can add on minors. Eventually we're ironing it out, but there's ability to do minors or certificates or associate certificates. There's all these extra things that make your CV look great and just give you more reasons to be marketable to industry and to get jobs afterwards. There's lots of opportunities for internships. There's lots of opportunities to do research. So UFB is really well positioned for student research, and there's reach out and get those opportunities because all of that makes you distinguished from everybody else, and it's a competitive field. It's a very busy field right now. So there's so many things to do, but ask those questions. Let Rhonda and Karen know what you're interested in. And there's just, you'll be so shocked at the opportunities, probably overwhelmed by the opportunities, but hopefully excited by that too.
So any questions about the academic calendar from anyone? Is the chat still going okay? Karen, haven't heard your voice in a while. I'm assuming we're okay. I'm going to click on registration just for a moment, just to show you. We are going to leave the academic calendar and head to the Office of the Registration page. And so this is their step-by-step sort of 6 steps that they have set up. So the first one is pay your deposit. So we ask Canadian students to pay $200 deposit for their registration before their registration time, and that will allow you to register. The $200 deposit is part of your tuition, so you pay $200, doesn't matter how many courses you're registering for. That just basically saves your space in those courses, and then there's always a fee payment deadline further on where you pay everything else. International students, I don't think we have any international students today, but international students, full tuition is actually due upfront before they're allowed to register. And you can see find your registration times. You can actually see if you want to see the words, click here, click here, click here, and MyUFE to find that if you wanted to get a jump start on that, right? You can also see that there's a tutorial showing you how to find that information. Find out which courses you need to take. That's what you're doing today. But you can also see that it's also linked to book an appointment with an advisor. Build your schedule. So it looks like they have some timetable worksheets. Have they linked the timetable yet? Not yet. So that usually pops up here. And you can see they also have put together a video on how to read that timetable. We have a couple of slides coming up that I also can show you as well. And then on the actual day of your assigned date and time, you can go ahead and register. And then again, they've told you the words of, how to navigate MyUFE, because again, you'll log into MyUFE and, click through until you can, submit your course registration numbers or CRNs for the courses you've chosen. Again, there's another video on how to do that, but I would expect that the sessions that are coming up will also cover that as well. And then the last thing, of course, is the 6th step is always to attend the first day of class, because that shows your instructor that your intention to, be there. So yeah, there's some information about how you attend online courses and all that sort of stuff. So I use this a lot with new students as well, because this is well laid out. Any questions about how to register the 6 steps before I bounce back?
I did put in the link for the registration workshops, so students can see that in the chat. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I
So
keep
they
on
can-
referring to it, but
Yeah, I got it there. So
okay. Thanks, Karen.
just to give you an idea of the time.
Gotcha.
4:07, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I tend to, talk, right?
So Isabel asked, where can you find the CRNs? Is that on the timetable? It's
Yeah,
that
that's on the
5-digit
timetable. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so,
five-digit code.
yeah. So, and we're getting there. So I'll just try
Okay,
to go a little bit quicker. So, some registration tips. We've talked about the $200 deposit. Campus code, I'll show you in just a moment where you can see that in the timetable. A lot of this will be in the timetable. Stefania had referred to some of the different methods of courses, but my understanding is that there'll be 4 different methods of courses, and that information will also be in the timetable. So it could be 100% online. Hybrid is usually a combination of in-person and online activity. The high flex is the new one that Stefania also mentioned, where I think you're going to be in the classroom, and then students can decide whether they're going to be in the classroom that week with you or still online, because there'll be live streaming happening there. And then, of course, we are going back to the traditional face-to-face model as well. So those are the 4 different methods. And again, the timetable will show us that. The important one, so something like English 105, Communications 125, Philosophy 100, Biology 111, they have multiple sections, so different days and times or different methods. You can actually only register for one section, is what we call it, of a course. So if you like a different day and time, but you can only wait list, that's what you'll be allowed to do. If you want to be registered in a course, then you need to choose a different day and time, and then you'll register in that course. But you cannot be registered in one section of a course and on the wait list because of the day and time or the method in the same course, just a different section. That's not allowed. So you have to choose one or the other. Sometimes that trips people up. And then, yes, some of our programs do reserve seats. So you might be in a waitlist situation just because you're not identified as that, specific program. I don't think you're going to run into that. I think it's going to be the reverse, because I think, is agriculture given seat reserves for environmental studies, Stefania? Do you know?
Yeah, they should be doing it. Yep.
Yeah, so the sort of high demand agriculture courses, you actually will have seat reserves for your specific program. So hopefully you will be allowed to register in the course and not find yourself on the wait list, because our agriculture department has multiple certificates and diplomas. So they've given us seats in their courses. So this is what the timetable is potentially going to look like. We use the winter to do this sort of screenshot snippet. The fall timetable isn't out yet, so we didn't have access to it when we were putting this together. So in each section, you always will see, again, information from the calendar. So, the discipline code, the number, the title, how many credits the course is worth, what the prerequisites are. That's all taken from the academic calendar. But then the next bit of information is the actual schedule. So there's always this 5-digit number listed. So I'm going to read it from left to right. This is your course registration number, or that CRN. Then we have the section, so that alerts you to that this is online. You might see AB, you might see CH. AB stands for Abbotsford, CH stands for Chilliwack. There also will be information, again, that it's online. This is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So sometimes our online courses are expecting you to be in the online classroom with the instructor and your classmates at the same time. So that's what we're calling synchronous. So it's sort of mimicking our face-to-face situation. So M is Monday, T is Tuesday, W is Wednesday, R is Thursday, because we already used T for Tuesday, and F is Friday. And then we always have the start of class and the end of class. So this is 8:30 to 9:50. We have start times anywhere starting from 8:30 every hour and a half, all the way up until 7 p.m. And then the first day of class, now this is winter semester, so this is already come and gone, but just use this example. So we always list when the class starts, January 6th, when the class ends, April 13th, and then there's usually a 2-week final exam period that follows that one. And then the last number here, the 36, is referring to how many students can actually register in this class. So that's our class maximum. And then you can see Ulrich has put in information about what the instructional method will be. So this is online with scheduled meeting times. You can also see that this section was supported by SLG supported learning groups. So for some of the more difficult courses, there'll be an upper level student who's already completed this course, who's done really well, who's had some training, and they offer extra sessions outside of class time to help you with the coursework. So that's synchronous. Oh, sorry. Again, Stefania, we put you back in here for Geography 111. So for winter semester, this was online only, no meeting time. So that's our asynchronous courses. So again in the online classroom, but now you can bebop in whenever you want to type idea. The usual recommendation is 3 times a week or 3 hours a week, or at least 3 hours a week. So if you're expected to be in class for 3 hours, you better be in online class for 3 hours type idea, right? So this one is showing a seat reserve. So the class maximum was 72 in the winter semester. You did 2 sections at the same time, Stefania.
2 sections, yes, mushed
Yeah.
together.
And then the internet, you can see international students that's slightly off to the right, justified 16. So 16 seats were reserved for international students. So that's how you read the seat reserves. And then the last one, which will be more on the science side of things. So our science courses have information on the actual class time. So that's usually the first one on the list. And then you can see you usually need to complete a lab component. So when you go to register, the 2 numbers are going to be linked together. So you will get a link or a message if you forget. So hopefully that'll prompt you to remind you. But you always need to register for the class time and the lab time at the same time. And both are going to have their own separate and distinct numbers. So biology 111 for winter, the first 2 sections, so ON1, ON2, those were the classes. So you could choose either to go synchronous with Debbie or asynchronous with Carlos. And then you would choose one of the following labs that was in person and that information was identified. So that you'll find out with the science courses. So that'll be 2 course registration numbers. What else? Yes, we talked about hybrid or high flex. Any questions about sort of the timetable information that I just sort of seemed to scream through? Is anything coming up in chat? No?
Nothing in the chat. Again, you know, for students, like I'm always happy to chat with you if you're nervous about the different versions.
Yes.
Online, asynchronous, high flex. It's a lot. You've come probably from online, I think, you know, being online for a while now, but yeah, happy to chat with you. No problem.
Yeah. Stefania knows much better than Karen and I do because she actually teaches in all of those methods, right? So yeah,
And
this is
just note that your labs are in person.
Yeah.
So if you were taking a course that has a lab, at least for the sciences, you do have in person. So that part you get to see somebody.
So course planning tools, we've taken screenshots of the BES 1-year plan and the BES-NS 1-year plan. So these were the agriculture courses that we were mentioning. You do need to complete 1 agriculture course. Does it need to be fall semester? No, but the option will be there. You know, there's going to be, you know, both degree requirements for the writing course, right? Communication 125 or English 105. Now, those do have prerequisites. So as long as you have English 12 completed with a C+, you're good. They both require geography 103. So you can see I'm pointing out the overlap first. That's the, you know, consensus that's the same between the 2. Geography 111, I've been heavy-handed on that one, but that's just because I know it's Stefania's course, right? Velocity 100 on this side for BES students. Is Velocity 100 required on the BES-NS side, Karen? We just had them in a different semester.
Yes, it's not in the necessarily
year.
in the first year,
Yeah.
but you could.
Yeah, but you can also see on the BES-NS side of things, we also now have the science courses, right? So, you know, these are outright required. So biology 111 followed by biology 112. Oh, that was a typo. Sorry about that. I just saw that. Chemistry 110 or chemistry 113. The list that we referred to here, again, you'll see the full courses that you get to choose from in my grad plan or in the academic calendar. So this is for, I think, a full year. You can see that on the BS side of things, all of these courses are going to equal anywhere between 31 and 35 credits. The main reason is that some of these lists, you have multiple courses to choose from. You choose 1, and depending on which course you choose, it could be either 3 credits or 4 credits. You can see that on the BS-NS side of things, this slate of courses will have you completing 30 to 32 credits. And the general understanding is that you complete 30 credits a year to have your 120 credits completed in 4 years. We, of course, don't have a timeline for completion, so it really just comes down to, you know, what program combo, or sorry, course combo makes sense for fall semester. I believe eventually, or hopefully in the next probably a couple of days or a week, we'll have this information up online. So we've given you where you can find it on our website, so the Advising Center's website under the program planning sections. And we have kept them separate for the time being. I'll ask Veronica to see if we can put them all together under environmental studies. So it'll be sort of 1 click away. But for right now, the BS stuff is under arts and the BS-NS stuff is under science. And yeah, in terms of when Stefania, when you ask the, target a specific course that might be high demand on the BS side of things, I would say probably the agriculture courses and maybe Geography 103, but I don't have a sense that that's been problematic for students. And Karen,
some teachers are really popular for that.
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah. But Karen, on your side of things, definitely probably again the agriculture and the biology and the chemistry, right? Are probably
that's
your
right.
key ones to sort of target for, first semester, second semester,
maybe potentially,
potentially as late as third semester, but within your first 30 credits that you get that priority access to courses. Alrighty, so we do.
Use it.
Yeah, we do have some information on upgrading. This was under the potential assumption that, especially on the science side of things, where you need to have, high school courses with specific letter grades before you can move into the first courses, you may need to do some upgrading, and UFE does have the upgrading options if you want to use them. So we just put this together so you can see if you need Biology 111, then you'll be looking at Biology 083. If you need Biology 12, you have Biology 093. So we have all of them there. Usually on the geography side of things or the philosophy, I did mention English 12 with the C+ for English 105 or Communications 125, but things like Geography 103, Geography 111, Philosophy 100, all of those, and I believe the agriculture courses as well, have no prerequisites. So we're not concerned about what grades you received in your high school courses. It's usually more on the biology, chemistry, physics, math side of things that's important. Already looked at the academic calendar. Okay, I was out of order. I'm so sorry, but here it is again. But I showed you where that's located and the areas that I look at. So I'm going to skip through that one. I'm not quite sure where this came from. I'm quite sure it's probably on the IT site or maybe in our online learning site, but information on what you're going to need from the sort of systems perspective in terms of doing the online component for Blackboard. Karen, do you know where Rilla potentially got this from? I haven't seen.
No.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is all sort of IT. There's my class tutorial videos. These links are actually here, right? Computer lab remote access tool, the IT services toolbox, the online learning system checklist, which this is what this is, right? So
you
our
can
IT
go to, sorry, you can go to a lot of that by on the very front page, go to the COVID-19 link.
Okay.
And there's a link there, if you go there, learning remotely.
Okay, so off of our homepage,
it has a nice, go to there, go to COVID-19.
Yeah.
Scroll down a bit.
Learning remotely.
Learning remotely.
Gotcha.
That takes you to a lot of things.
Gotcha. See, part of the website I didn't even know that existed. So I'm learning something too. We all access information differently, right? Based on, the questions that were asked continuously, right? So and it looks like our smart bot has popped up too, right? So some of our pages have that as well. Okay, cool. Like I said, I learned something new. And then, yes, so the things that, remember, so we have student supports in place for you. So the big one always, because I'm quite sure Stefania will agree with me, use your instructors, your professors, their office hours. They're usually sitting there, whether it's online or in person, and no one comes and visits them. So they're very, very lonely. So, you have questions about the course material, you definitely want to, use their office hours. Don't be afraid to go in, knock on their door and pop your head in and say, I have a question, that sort of.
Not sure if that's allowed yet, but definitely email, email 100%.
Yeah.
And if you're not bothering anybody, it's totally our job. So don't hesitate.
Yeah. We have the Math and Stats Center. I'm thinking that most of these places are still going to be doing the virtual stuff. We'll see what September rolls around in terms of what we're allowed to do in terms of the in-person and open the doors again. We have our Academic Success Center. They offer workshops, but they also have peer tutoring. You can make an appointment and do sort of one-on-one, present your assignment, what you've been working on, and have some, direction and, sort of the next steps to take. The supported learning groups, that's usually identified in the timetable. So some of those really sort of, tough courses that students have found, then they have that added benefit of having an upper level student there to support you as well. We do have counseling within their student services area that have study skills workshops and resources online. And they also have, again, I'm going to say virtual appointments or phone appointments for even some of the personal stuff. We have the Center for Accessibility Services, we have our Indigenous Student Center, we have our Student Support Center, and then of course, we're last on the list, but we've been doing all the talking. Karen and I are here, right? So you're always welcome to make appointments with us and have a conversation about what's going on, right? Oh, phew, we made it to the end. So I made it.
I added one more link too for the students, because it's our student association.
Oh, thank you.
It's a little outdated with the acronyms and stuff, but SLUIC is the school acronym, and then SLUICSA, it doesn't sound good, but anyway, it's our student association. There's a Facebook page, and is a pretty tight group of students that hopefully will be more active next year. So do join that, because that's where you can definitely meet people, network.
Yeah. So this was the congratulations. You stuck it out with me. You made it through. Yes, it was longer than I wanted to be. So of course I'll hang out a bit longer to answer any questions. Yes, we completely understand that this is a lot of information. We've even pared it down and tried to, be more succinct and try to get you just what you need to do to get to the fall semester registration, which is going to happen in a few weeks. But truthfully, just right now, just, look at the academic calendar, see what courses are there. Monday, the timetable comes out, look at that, see what courses are there, and put a schedule together that makes sense. So whether it's, days and times, whether it's methods, whether it's, in-person, online, hybrid, high flex, you want to do a combo of those things. Is it 3 courses? Is it 4 courses? All of those sorts of things. You get to decide, which I think is probably the biggest panic that I find most students have, because up until this point, everything has been decided for you. When you come to university, you get to make those decisions. So it's a slight shift in focus there, right? So we are here. Karen and I are always here. So you make an appointment and we meet with you one-on-one, whether it's virtual or phone right now, or hopefully in September in person. And then we'll, help you navigate your degree, as they say. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stop sharing.
I just wanted to reiterate how excited we are to have you as part of the program. So just in case you're not already aware, we're super excited about how fast the programs are running and growing. Really wonderful to have you all here as first years. So declaring it right off the bat, which is just really encouraging sign. There's a lot of work to do, and this industry is growing like crazy. So it is, it's a really interesting time. And I just want to let you know that this is my degree. I graduated with an undergrad in environmental studies and geography, and I have lived and worked in Italy, Wales, Scotland, and New Zealand, and now Canada. I'm originally from California. So with this degree, I have worked and lived and traveled and studied across the world. So it is a very kind of the world is your oyster kind of degree program. So it's what you make of it for sure, but really excited to have you start this journey.
I think I'm going to stop recording so that students can then feel comfortable to put on their cameras if they want to.